Good evening and welcome to Easy STO with Kath. This is a little mini episode on CSV Misfires. This is going to be the first in a series of 3 or maybe 4 videos about misfires in general. So the first thing I wanted to do was just go through with you exactly what a misfire is classed as, because often there's some confusion about what a misfire actually looks like. So a misfire is when you activate the ability, and instead of appearing in the buff bar like it's done on my screen just now, it goes into cooldown, it grays out, and you don't have any ability activation in your buff bar. So that is a misfire. There are some things that people see as a misfire. So just as an example, one of those might be the procs from Fleet Power Network Array, also known as FPNA. So when you activate Fleet Power Network Array, there's a 60% chance that Beams Overload 1, Cannon Rapid Fire 1, or Torpedo High Yield Salvo 1 will activate. On a CSV build, the only one that we really have any worry about is Cannon Rapid Fire 1. So what I'm going to do on screen is I'm going to activate Fleet Power Network Array, and then I'm going to hover over one of my weapon icons to see exactly when it might activate. So I'm going to hit FPNA, and then I'm just going to see what happens. There we go. So we've got an activation of Rapid Fire 1. Now, in this scenario, what happens is that just before the start of an ISE, you'll activate FPNA at, say, 5 seconds. Now, if you then press your CSV, what happens is that the original Rapid Fire 1 activation is still active even though CSV is active at the same time. So in essence, what happens is Cannon Rapid Fire 1 is a single target, so your cannons are firing at a single target, whereas CSV is multi-target. So if you're in the throes of an ISE, you might find that you might think or find that you have a CSV misfire when actually it's a mechanic of the game. This has previously been reported into STO, and the feedback that we had was that it was working as intended. I will put a link to that piece of work into the YouTube link, so you can look at it at your own leisure. Now, let's see if we can catch an FPNA and CSV activation at the same time. So, activate FPNA. Wait for it. There we go. So as you can see from that example there, Rapid Fire 1 was active. I activated CSV. And for that time period, both were active, but Rapid Fire 1 was retained as the firing mode until expiry. Okay, so that's the first thing to sort of say on that. Now the second thing is that I've got Darthon on the call with me. He's my very helpful assistant. He's not going to be talking, but he's going to be helping me demonstrate in a PvP map. So I'm going to launch the PvP map now, and then show you about firing arcs. So whilst we're waiting, if you hover over your icons for the weapons, you'll see a blue grid appears. Now this blue grid shows the firing arc that your weapon can do. So the one I've got selected at the moment is a wide arc dual heavy cannon with a 90-degree targeting arc. The other dual heavy cannons that I've got on this ship are 45-degree firing arcs, targeting arcs, and they are slightly smaller. Oh, and there we go, our map is now loading. So turrets and omnidirectional beams will have 360-degree targeting arcs. Okay, so we're going to meet in the middle of the map. Have a look at the arc. Have a look what happens if you've got a target selected and the target is outside of your arc. Oh, there he is. Okay, so everyone say hi to Darthon. So as you can see, I've got at the moment Darthon is my target in an ISE, it would be a ball cube, or in a simulator or a sphere. I've got the target directly in front of me. Now, as you can see, all of my weapons are bright. They are within the targeting arc, so I'm just hovering over the icons at the moment, and you can see the blue targeting arc appear. Now watch what happens if I move outside. So if I just turn my ship ever so gradually, oh, these have gone out. So we've got lit up ones and not lit up ones. What's happened here? So this is a visual indication that the target is now outside of your firing arc. Now the problem with this is that if it's outside of your firing arc, those weapons aren't going to fire, even if you've got a target that isn't selected directly in front of you. So if there was another target in here that I had in front of me, these weapons would not be firing because I've got the target that's outside of my targeting arc selected. This can be perceived as a misfire because your weapons might not fire. Now, if I go completely out of my wide arc as well, let's make my wide arc. So now all of my front weapons now won't be firing. So if you're in front of, say, in a simulator, and you've got something that is off to if you've got the gateway selected, maybe you might not be firing. So that can be perceived as a misfire. Now, the other thing to say on this is that if your target is behind the gateway, so if we go, we'll go over to this gateway over here. So Darthon's going to go behind the gateway for me. So I'm going to position myself in front of the gateway. There we go. So despite Darthon being there, despite Darthon being there and in range, I can't fire because there's this gateway blocking him. So if you're coming from the back of the gateway, or you might be, say, you might be targeting something at the back, so one of the regeneration pieces for the side gateways, then you might not, your weapons might not fire if the gateway's in the way. So again, that's another perception of something that is a misfire. Now, if we just go a little bit forward, and then I get back into range and say that the gateway isn't blocking, and I've now got that target selected and available to fire. Important note on this: so in the context of standard dual heavy cannons, CSV will extend the firing arc to 90 degrees. So if you're under CSV, so a standard DHC is 45 degree targeting arc. Under CSV, that becomes 90 degrees. So it generally needs to be outside of 90 degree, which you can hover over your wide angle and see exactly where that 90 degrees is. In practice, you're probably not going to notice these things. So the best way of if you're experiencing a high level of CSV misfires, the answer here is to record your TFOs. So if you're doing a high-end run, supported run, or you might be doing a PUG ISE, pickup group ISE, and you're experiencing a lot of misfires, you think something's not right, there might not actually be a bug in the game. It might well be a game mechanic, so something blocking FPNA, etc. So record your videos of your TFO, look back at it, and just have a look and see what exactly is going on. So I just wanted to say a quick thank you to Darthon for supporting with this exercise. Really appreciate it. There will be some more videos in this series, so stay tuned for those. I hope you all have a wonderful morning, day, or evening wherever you're watching this from. Have a great one. Bye.